Hello, my name is Blake Harris, and I'm here to welcome you to this episode of the Music City Mindset. If you are here, then you already know this. Music City Mindset is located under the Nashville Fit Magazine Network. That helps us out a lot, and that helped us get a big show today. When I say big, I mean 6'10", 330, but we're going to get into that here in a little bit. Part of the reason why it's so big is I'm not here by myself. With my co-host, the one who gave me the confidence to even think that this was a legit concept, the OG to your OG, your favorite trainer's favorite trainer, and your favorite co-host, Glenn Cliff Great, TSU legend at Training Corner on Instagram, Mr. Deon Giddens.
Man, dude, it keeps getting better and better. Glad to be here, man.
All right, I'm glad you're here. I'm feeling real good. Big weekend, steeplechase. Feel like I'm still recovering.
Did you go to that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you always go to that?
I don't always go to it.
I've never been.
It's fun. It's fun.
A lot of black people there? Or no?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah, man. It was a lot of drunk white people. From the infield up. The first time I ever went with some fraternity brothers from Austin P, if that says anything.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. Actually, got invited into one of the boxes. And,
how was that, man? Cool.
To actually be around people that are of the status level that respect the integrity that is horse racing,
right?
And not just being at the raging keg party in the infield.
Right.
Definitely gave me a lot of perspective as far as like what goes into it. This is the steeplechase, not just a race, so they're jumping over things. Mm-hmm. I mean, actually watching some people put their body on the line.
Yeah, I saw the people like bite the dust on it.
Oh yeah, dude got trampled. They had to
that's crazy.
They had to do the thing like it looked like a DeMar Hamlin situation where like everybody like created a wall and held up things so you couldn't tell what they were working on. There's a couple scary moments out there. They're really putting their lives out there. Those are huge animals.
I don't think people realize how big horses really are.
And the jockeys are so small. They have like age limits, like weight classes but age limits for the horses, and also like each age limit of the horse has a weight class for the jockey, and like. The bigger jockeys are like under 158. So you're talking about some like small dudes and some giant machines of animals.
Yeah, man, a horse is something they ain't nothing to play with.
Recipe for disaster there.
Yeah, I watched it when they showed some of the highlights.
Yeah, it was on the news.
I was like, what the? Yeah.
That's some white people shit. I'll say it. Let's talk a little bit about legacy.
Let's go, man.
Coming up where you came up. Now you had some cousins that were a little bit older that also went on to greatness. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I had an older cousin that in L.A.
In L.A.
In L.A., yeah.
Gotcha.
So he grew up in Inglewood area, L.A., which is tough. His older brother.
Not Inglewood, Nashville.
No. Totally different thing. So we, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle with a SoFi.
Yeah.
Chargers. We get into Chargers a little bit later with our guests today.
Yeah, we
too.
will.
But,
definitely
got
to get into that.
Like where that new stadium is, and it's like it reminds me of like the boys in the hood.
When you're there,
you know what I mean? Like my older cousin, his brother was a blood gang member. Younger brother was a football player.
Gotcha.
And that was the dynamic. You know what I mean? So
here in Nashville, like when you were coming up, and it's pretty evident that you were really good at sports. I'm sure that happened at a kind of young age for you. What was your legacy here as it comes into sports? And, like, what was the expectations? Like, where did the expectations for you start? And was that as a kid, and was that pressure there?
Nah, I was just playing. My dad didn't play sports. So I had no formal introduction training. My cousins was all in the streets, so it just something I was doing around the neighborhood, man. So, but we played with some guys who ended up going on to play professional and great college players too, so we all just grew up together. So we just doing what we did in the neighborhood.
So your perspective was you were kind of changing the legacy,
yes,
setting the tone for what's going to come after you.
Yes. So not seeing it, you know what I mean, and then not realizing how good we were until you start getting to middle school and high school. Like, wait a minute, this can really go somewhere. You know what I mean? But having an older cousin to kind of always reach out to me, make sure I was good. I think he got drafted out of USC, so he went to Southern Cal. He got drafted by the Houston Oilers. So that's how that was, right? So I think I was in like the 7th, 8th grade at Wright Middle School, which we won the city championship at that time. So he knew I was good. He actually tried to get me to move out to LA. my parents wouldn't let me leave. They're like, nah, we can keep him in Nashville. But you know, just seeing that and just knowing, all right, we can kind of change something, man. So it's the first time I really saw it. Guys before us did it, but I think they was too connected to the streets to kind of let it all the way go.
Yeah.
1 foot in, 1 foot out situation. So, but it was guys better than me that could have went on and did all this stuff more than what I ever could. But it just happened to be our time when we did it. And then the friendships, man, we just all stayed together. You know what I mean? So you still got ties to the streets, but real guys who come out of that, they don't let those guys get involved like that to that degree.
So with how the community viewed you, if you would have slipped up and went left at some point, upper high school, even still here in Nashville in college, and made some decisions that would have like ruined where you ended up going with your career, would that have been like a surprise to people, or would they have been like
not shocked?
Not shocked at all.
No, they would have.
They would have been shocked.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that pressure and that expectation was there.
It came later on. I mean, you know, once you start realizing, hey, I could go to college to play this, coaches will come pull you out of class, like, hey, man, why you hanging with this dude? I'm like, man, I've been knowing him since first grade. You know, but they would have been shocked if I wouldn't left. You know, I mean, I grew up in a good home. I mean, both my parents were married, still married to this day, 40 years plus. You
That's
know,
a big deal.
middle class. Yeah, I know. So I know I saw a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would have been shocked.
See, I came from the like similar to you in the fact of like I was the first one to like really do something.
Right.
I mean, sometimes when I tell people I went to Good Pasture, people are like, "Oh, you went to Good Pasture?" It's like, man, my cousin went to Good Pasture.
Yeah, I remember you telling me
Yeah,
that.
he graduated with like a 4.3, and he was a Mr. Football finalist as a center. And they found out that there was another Harris boy coming up, so that was the only reason I got an opportunity to go to a school like that. But I don't think the expectations for me to actually keep climbing were there. So every time it kept happening, it was going to be a long shot for me to get to the league. And I got about as close as you can get, but it felt like, looking back when I didn't get there, not my immediate friends and family, but like overall the viewpoint was like, we didn't think it would happen. So there was never really that like expectation.
Just a plus if it would have.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you know, we got this, you know, these microphones kind of popping a little loud out there. And people are like kind of acting surprised again that, you know, I'm doing something.
This?
Yeah. So expectations and that legacy and like coming out of something has been a conversation that is, you know, been in my echo chamber, you know, as of late.
I mean, because it's easy to get caught up in it too. Like, especially like if you know that you're good. Like some people know from the beginning, hey, he did it, my brother did it. My dad played. It's different. But for somebody like me, I didn't see that. I didn't have an immediate person to kind of look at growing up. So I just had to go get it. You know what I mean? So, but when I did, it's like, oh, this is what they talking about. Oh, this is.
I had a great example of how to get by.
Yeah.
I can survive anywhere. It's that example of how to thrive.
That's the growth point though, right? So some people get that early though. You know what I mean? Some people don't learn until later on. But I think we always learning how to, like, all right, we not here just to survive and thrive, though. That's not it.
Right.
Like, we want to make sure we keep climbing, and it's always something that we add, you know, no matter how old we are. You know what I mean? So that's my thing.
I used to get kind of salty about it.
About what?
Like, people either when I would, like, really mess something up or I didn't get to where I wanted to go, and people would almost not act shocked. Like for you, it was shock.
Oh, you get pissed like, man, like, okay, I got it.
But I started realizing that I think I kind of put a little bit of it on myself by dumbing myself down. Especially when it comes to this podcast stuff, I had like a close friend tell me that like they were surprised that I have a successful podcast and that I'm doing so well. And to me, it was like, man, you know what you don't realize? Did you know all those practices that I would miss? That I was in detention. He was like, yeah, man, you're doing some wild shit. It was like, yeah, some of those I wasn't going to detention. I was involved in extracurricular art. I was involved in like public speaking. Like I could have actually walked with honors with public speaking awards, but I didn't want to get made fun of with all my teammates and stuff. So they didn't even know I did. And I would just tell people I was in detention. So in me, this isn't a surprise, but I had to really be honest with myself on what I showed people.
Right.
So that's been a really deep conversation lately. And speaking of legacy, we have an absolute local legend sitting right here with us today. long legacy here that we're going to talk about.
You got enough room to write this stuff?
Yeah, man. Local legend, a Brentwood Academy beast, an Auburn University alum. Roll
Yeah,
Tide.
on Alabama.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, had to do it.
Never lost Alabama, so but go ahead.
All right, we'll talk about it. Selected in the 2008 NFL Draft by the Philadelphia Eagles, the 2014 Lineman of the Year with the San Diego Chargers. He's the O-line coach here at Lipscomb Academy, co-host of the podcast called The Raw Room. Here is King Dunlap the Fifth.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for finally pulling through, man.
No, man. We've been talking about this for a minute.
Yeah.
I've been talking to him about it for a minute.
though. Yeah.
I'm glad we made it work. King Dunlap the Fifth.
Bro, I know he's a fifth.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. See, I learn something new every day.
Yeah. So obviously, I knew that was your dad's name.
Yeah.
Us going to TSU. Very familiar with who your father is.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know it was the fifth until I started really doing some research here. So on the conversation of legacy, what was it like even as a kid and then going through what you were like your career in the NFL as being the fifth? I have no idea how to wrap my head around what that's like.
Well, the fifth, being a family name, just from day one, that's what it was. To me, if you're not named after your dad, it was weird. Just
because of what you saw.
Yeah, just because what I was around my whole life. Like, my grandfather was still alive when I was born, so like I got my name drilled into me early and often, especially going back in Henry County. So my dad's from Henry County in West Tennessee, so always going back. King. My middle name is David, so King David Dunlap the Fifth. I got King David the Fifth. All
King's
that
not even a
drilled in.
nickname.
Yeah, it's my real name. I go through that every day too. Yes, King.
Bet.
King is my real name. I'm this big, and King is my real name. But yeah, being the fifth, man, just the whole legacy thing of starting off with a namesake with my dad, and then like obviously my dad playing football at TSU. Coach Merritt, Coach Gillum, he played with a bunch of greats that played in the league. And then my mom running track with Coach Temple. And her teammate was Coach Cheese, who's still the track coach there now, been doing, she was all world everything. So just
she was.
The legacy, like you said, y'all talk about legacy. I've been over here biting my tongue because y'all been talking. But the whole legacy thing for me, man, I realized early on that for me what it was going to be with, like I said, two parents being former athletes, also getting their degrees, both being engineers, chemical engineers at TSU. So it's like for me, it was school and sports from day one. From day one.
Yeah.
Like I started playing, I think, sports when I was like 3 or 4. Started school around the same time, and it was books and ball, and family from day one. So that legacy of just kind of that's knowing what it was early on. It took me a few years to finally get it, but once it finally clicked, for me, that was the expectation of, like we're gonna go to school, we're gonna get our books, but we also want to have the same discipline towards sports as well. So people don't know this. I played football, basketball, baseball, and soccer growing up. I did everything. I was an athlete before I became a lineman.
What position on baseball?
I pitched and played first base. I was a co-pitcher. I would been like if I didn't hurt my shoulder,
You're
I'd still be pitching.
Up there on that bump right
and
there.
I'm left-handed. So
he got all
you were a menace, dude.
I was a lefty. Yeah. So my favorite baseball players were King Griffey Jr. and Randy Johnson. Because the King Griffey Jr. baseball game, like that was mine. So so I watched King Griffey hit, and then I watched Randy Johnson pitch. So for baseball, for me early on, I played at UNA, so I played football and baseball at UNA. We did everything. I know you played at Woodbine.
A bitter rivalry.
We used to scrub. We used to scrub Woodbine.
Nah. I lost UNA once. I split with them. I take it back.
I think they beat us one time. I think it was either Triple B or Triple C. That was one of the 4 losses I had in my 8 years at UNA. But then doing baseball there too. So baseball is my best and my favorite sport growing up. I pitched. I played first base. I was a lefty. Back when kids pitched back then, there was no any kind of pitch count. So I pitched every game from like age 7 to like 11 or 12. Because like we had a few other pitchers, but for the majority, I was kids pitch. I was pitching whole games, and I got taught how to throw sliders, curveballs, all that at 9, 10 years old. And then by the time I got to 15, my shoulder's dead. Like I didn't have no. Like, I can't. That's why I play football too, because I can't reach anything kind of reaching up, back over my head. I can't really. My arm don't go that far back. And so
because of pitching.
Yeah, just because of pitching. Like there was I literally pitched like there was a span for where I think I pitched every game for at least about 2 years. Because we didn't have a lot of
so many games. Yeah. There's so many games.
So many games. Yeah. And I was doing all-star baseball too, so it was a lot. But baseball was coming up. But like I said, the legacy of sports for me Started pretty early with both of my parents being kind of really good. Like I said, my dad played TSU.
Nah,
Mom
don't
ran
say
track at
really. No,
TSU.
he just went to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Let's not leave that out.
Okay, yes, okay, yeah. So yeah, my dad did. He did get inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he did.
At TSU for football. I don't know if my mom's going to get in for track, but she was there. She was on that 4x4 team with Coach Cheese. She high jumped mostly, but they made her run one of the legs on the 4x4. So she was on that championship team with Coach Cheese when she was there. I call her Aunt Cheese. I've known her my whole life.
Yeah.
Like I said, her and my mom have been best friends since college. So like I said, so the whole athletic thing for me has been day one. For me, my brother, and my sister, we all, as like I said, it was books, ball, and family from as early as I can remember. So for me, like I said, the expectation, that legacy was set early on by my parents. And being a kid when you're young in it, you're kind of just going and doing it. You don't realize what it's really setting you up for until you get a little older. And like I said, I'm thankful for it every day, because if it wasn't for that foundation, I never would have got to where I got to on the back end of my career.
Right. And we're talking from our perspective of not really coming from a legacy. Right. It's easy to look back and be like, man, imagine where I would have been if I had that example, if I had that legacy. And it sounds like you're in a really good spot with it now. Was there ever times where it felt like that pressure to be excellent was too much and you wanted to like break off and kind of do your own thing?
Absolutely. I quit football in my mind several times. Several times. I told my dad too. I was like, yeah, I'm done playing football. Yeah, okay. It was never during football season. It was always during like baseball, basketball, something. Football was coming up, and I was into whether it was basketball or baseball. I was like, you know what, man, forget football. I'm trying to lock into this. Yeah, Dad, I don't think I'm gonna play football. Yeah, okay, sounds good. So just keep whatever I finished, whatever sport it was. When it came football season, I was right back out there. I think I did. But it did get the pressure of doing it's. Especially when I was playing like 3 and 4 sports at a time, like trying to be great at 3 or 4 different sports all at one time was a lot.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Because they expect, knowing, like I said, y'all know my pops, knowing my dad and my family. So if I'm playing something, they're expecting me to be
the dude,
the guy, one of the guys, if not the guys, right? At every game, every single time. So it's like, I'm playing basketball, baseball, football, doing all that, and it got to a point when I was younger, again, not really understanding what was going on. It was like a lot, and I was like, man, I don't want this. Like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't want it. But like I said, that's just like you said, being younger, not really maturing and getting older, understanding what was really happening. But it did get to a point where I was like, man, I don't. Like, can I just play for fun? Like, no, if you're gonna do this, like I said, because all the training and the workouts, I couldn't miss practice. But if I didn't have my school, my books and stuff done, I wasn't gonna practice. I didn't play. There's been several times where I didn't do what I was supposed to do in school, and I got to game day, and I would go to the game and be dressed, but I had to just stand on the sideline or sit in the dugout or sit on the bench and just watch everybody else play.
Man, you know how much discipline that is. Like as a dad, father, to be like, hey, I know my kid is the guy, but if we don't learn this lesson right now,
he's not playing.
It's going.
He told the coaches would be pissed. They'd be mad.
That's what I'm saying. But we see it at school when we coaching. You know what I'm saying? Like getting the guys together. Hey, this come first.
You can do what you got to do. If you don't do what you got to do school-wise on the books, sports are irrelevant because school comes first. Like, so I got drilled that got drilled into me early, and so it just kind of carried through. But it's because I always heard it. I was like, yeah, whatever. They're not gonna let me miss. They're not gonna let me miss a game. And the first time it happened, bro, I cried. I cried worse not being able to play than that day when I used to get my ass whooped. Like I used to, I really take an ass whooping, a whooping.
Yes.
Over not being able to play. I literally told them, I was like, just give me a whooping so I can still play in the game.
At what point did you focus on one sport?
So once I got to BA, it was down to just football and basketball, and then going into my senior year, I ended up putting on like 30 pounds in the off season during like training for football, but I was still doing summer basketball. It was high school summer basketball leagues. You go in these tournaments, you're playing 2, 3, and 4 games a day, and just my knees not being able to hold up. Like we had to pick which games I was going to play because my knees would just swell up so bad from all that. It was the pounding, it was the landing, the coming down from the jumping and up and down on the court, the hardwood. My knees were built for grass. So I think going into my senior year, that's when I was kind of like, all right, it's probably going to be football just because my knees wouldn't hold up for basketball. Like it's just like, especially my right knee, it would just, after every game, it would just swell up and swell up and swell up, and I had to ice it down, and then just trying to play so many back-to-back games. It just wasn't, football was, this is crazy, I tell people this all the time, football was safer to play for me than basketball longevity-wise. So if I played basketball, I'd probably been done probably my sophomore year out of college. but football was a safer sport.
And you were already
longevity.
done playing baseball.
Yeah, baseball was done. Yeah, baseball was
See,
done.
I can see that though. I mean,
Yeah.
just doing both. Like I mean, it's a lot of wear and tear on that hardwood, man. Like
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Have you seen those guys how they walk? Some of the basketball players, man. Like just
I don't-
after they.
I don't know how
finish.
KD's knees or ankle don't sound. I mean, he looks like his calves are.
Well, KD barely weighs 200 pounds though. I was
Yeah.
270. That's why it's like Zion. Look at Zion, right?
Yeah.
He's
If, Zion,
struggling,
if he don't
man.
keep his weight, he can't. You break, especially the way. Like I never had a 48 inch vertical. I never jumped that high.
Right.
But the little 33 inch vertical I had, like just that up and down pounding, like the way Zion
still
is, that's
so
supposed
high
to
at
be.
your
Is,
size.
Yeah, but still for him, like that kind of weight going up and down, like that's a lot on your body. Like that's a
for
lot of
sure.
pounding.
I mean, it makes sense hearing you say it.
Yeah.
It's
Most
just not what
don't
people
about
think
that.
of
Right.
because of the
Yeah.
contact involved in football. So, I mean, obviously, multi-sport athletes thrive when they're older because of the foundation built. But
Absolutely.
so you were basically in college before you had a real full, complete off season.
Yes. That was my freshman year in college was the first time I did just one sport. Like,
And did
the
you
whole
miss
time.
it, or was it something like was it?
What was
a
that?
big
What was your first
adjustment?
I miss-
off season like?
I missed baseball. Like once I stopped playing, I cried once I realized baseball was over.
Mm-hmm.
That hurt because that was my favorite and I was the best at it. But I came to the realization that baseball wasn't going to be it. Just because like I think I kind of outgrew baseball too. Like with my size, how big I was going to be. Like now you got some taller, bigger guys that are playing now, but back then it just wasn't.
Nah,
It wasn't. That wasn't really.
Shohei,
thing.
Shohei's big as hell too.
Yeah. And so, but then when I got to the point where I played basketball. I was athletic. I could play basketball, and I played, especially getting a BA. I played, getting Brandon in there. I played because I had played all my life. But in the back of my mind, I always kind of knew basketball wasn't gonna be it. Like I played, I was good, but my main focus, like I said, my dad being a football guy, football was always in my heart. Like this is my thing. I'd rather pancake somebody than dunk on somebody. Because I feel like my mentality was like, dunking on somebody is cool, but I'd rather run through your face.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why for me, football, playing football, playing linebacker early on in football, like playing linebacker and tight end, then moving to D-line to O-line, just the football mentality. And even when I played basketball, like, high school, when football ends, you pretty much go right into basketball, especially us playing the state championship game every year, being at BA. Like, we play state championship game, we get like
No
a
big
week
deal.
off. We get like a week off and then go right into basketball. Then first few basketball games, I'm damn near fouling out because I'm just running right through people.
Yeah.
But I'm just coming from football, so and I always played basketball with the
That's a
football
hard
mentality.
adjustment, man. We have to do that too. Like we could be in the playoffs and then going right into
basketball. It's
'cause the
different,
season's
bro.
already going on.
Yeah.
You jump in, you in game 3 or 4.
I mean, I had
You just
friends
in.
that did it. I'm nodding my head. I mean,
Oh, you hoop? Was you hoop? Was you?
Yeah.
I mean, I like playing, but like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Larry,
I've been this
Larry
height
Bird.
since I graduated. So
You're
I
not
mean,
Larry Bird or nothing like
and
that.
I've been this skin color my whole life.
And then
so.
being a good passer, that weren't,
No.
you had no.
No.
Played over there, they weren't even.
No.
Them, you playing basketball didn't even come across their radar over
No.
there, good passers.
No.
No, it was that was not in the cards for me. So a couple things before we move forward, because you said some things that, like, as I'm putting it together, like, at what age were you when you were looking back and realized, like, your day-to-day normal with, like, your legacy, being at BA, the excellence, the winning, like, that wasn't normal for everyone.
Right.
Like, when did that really, like, sink in and be like, man, you, like, the run that you had?
Man,
like,
I want him, like, in addition to that, run off just the team that you had over there. Like who you played with at BA.
Well, for basketball or for football?
I'm gonna say
everything.
I'm gonna say football.
Well, to start with
we talk about this.
Right, I know we do have this conversation all the time. So, as far as the everyday excellence, I mean, to me, that's just what it was. I didn't know anything other than that. Like,
that's
be
your
great.
normal.
If you're gonna do something, be great at what you do. Put the work
Yeah.
in and work hard at it, and be great at everything. So that was my normal before I even got to BA. Me going to BA was just. I used to thank my dad all the time. I still thank my mom to this day, even though my dad passed away, R.I.P., big fella, that going from Antioch to BA, that was just another step in just kind of furthering the expectation of if you're going to do something, do it right. Like, we're putting you in a position to be great. You're going to the school for a reason, for academics and athletics, to be the best student athlete you can be and the best person you become. So I already had that mentality going into BA, so that was just, for me, just like kind of like a level up to get to the next level. And getting over there. So I just that was my normal. Like, I didn't realize that wasn't normal for everybody till I got to Auburn and got to college. because everybody didn't have that same mindset. Like you said, some guys coming from different backgrounds for different reasons, but just realizing that everybody just didn't have the same mindset of, I'm going to go show up every day, do my hardest, do the best I can be, just because that's just what it is. That's when it really hit me, was finally getting to college. But to going back to the teams at BA, I mean, yeah, so for basketball, my senior year, that's when Brandon was a freshman. So Brandon Wright, Josh Bone, they were the first. So they're the first two black guys to go to BA that just played basketball.
Brandon Wright and
Josh were they were the first two black guys that went to BA just for basketball and not to play football as well. Because people forget this, David Harrison even played football too, even while he was at BA.
I didn't know David Harrison played football.
Yeah, he played football. He played tight end.
Okay.
So he played too. So they were the first. Yeah, we still kind of make fun of them, but yeah. So basketball, it was Brandon. So my senior year, it was me, my boy Darren Mustin, who was Brandon, Josh, Barry Turner, David Holbert, Chris Slay, Ron's younger brother, Bruce Little. I know I'm forgetting somebody. We had our first 10. Our practices were our hardest thing that year because we had a 5v5. We had two starting fives that our practice. So I was always the 5-on-1. So it was always me and Brandon, and we had enough to go all the way down to where our practices were some of the most competitive games we had in high school at BA.
Oh, yeah.
Like Coach Pitch used to
Brandon
make
White
us.
was a one and done.
Yeah.
He went to North Carolina.
Yeah, they won state. They won
league.
state 4 years in a row. So my senior year was his freshman year. They won that year, and they won all 4 years in a row when they were there. And then Coach Pitts left. But I remember our high school practices, bro, in basketball. Like he would pair us up, and we would just line up, and we would just go at it. Like he would just let us play. Like wasn't no fouls. You just had to play. The loser had to run, and so. You know how I go. I'm not trying to. I hated lose. Not only did I hate losing, but I hated running suicides. Yeah. And so our practices would get pretty competitive. I mean, me and Brandon used to go at it. Brandon weighed about $180, 85. So I used to muscle him up because I was still like 270 at the time. So I put him on the block, and I was bigger than I was heavier than him. But the way he was, he could jump out he'd been jumping out the gym since he was like 7th grade. So we would kind of go back and forth. But our basketball team, bro, we were pretty cold my senior year.
Yeah, and then Bone went to UT with it. So then they got a legacy too. And
then our football team, I mean, it's some of the same names. I mean, but me, Darren, David, Chase McTorrey, Jefferson Adcock was our quarterback. Lil Theo was the running back. Theo Townsend. Barry played football.
Roll Tide Theo.
Yeah. Again, Bruce Little, Chris played, and then Jefferson Adcock was our quarterback. We had Chaff Uson. Cliff Taylor played. Pete Compton. We had the kickers, John Vaughn and Cody, that I went to Auburn with. I don't know. I'm forgetting.
How many college guys you think was on that one team?
Well, we had 8 in my class.
That's what I'm saying. Like 8.
We had 8 D1.
Just in the class.
We had, I think, 7 or 8 in our class and went D1 that year. Off my team my senior year. And we were loaded, bro. We were pretty.
We had 2.
2 the whole time.
We were loaded.
My senior year we had 2.
Senior year too.
Yeah. What year was your senior year?
05.
05. Yeah.
So, as far as D1, it was me and Patrick.
Pat. Yeah, Big Pat. Yeah. So we played my senior year. We played y'all. That was must have been Pat's sophomore freshman year. I graduated 03, so it was a fall of 02. I think we beat y'all by like 2 or 3 scores. Pat caught a touchdown, but it was late in the game and didn't really mean much. But yeah, our senior year, we were pretty good, man. Coach Flack came out of retirement our senior year to coach us, so he had retired before, and our class was that loaded that he came out of retirement to coach us. So you
played 4 years of high school basketball?
Well, I played technically 2 years. So I played freshman year at Antioch. I dressed for like 1 game of varsity at the end of the year, but I played for like 45 seconds. So after our freshman year, I had to sit out my whole sophomore year when I got to BA for that 45 seconds of.
That's crazy, man.
Because of the transfer?
Because of the transfer.
Transfer rule. That's wild.
Yeah, I played I played. It might not have been 45 seconds of a varsity game at the end of the season, going to the playoffs. Coach put I think we had like 3 or 4 freshmen dressed, and we went in because Mario and them. It was Mario still there. They went out, and we literally got in for like 30 seconds, but I had to sit out my whole sophomore year. So I played JV my sophomore year at BA, football and basketball, but I technically only played 2 years at BA my junior and senior year.
And how many total rings did you graduate with?
Only 1 in basketball. We lost in the state championship every year in football when I was at BA. I think they lost 4 or 5 in a row in the state championship game.
And it's unbelievable, I feel like.
Yeah, that's the one thing in my whole career that
You still get pissed about that?
I'm still pissed
more
about
than
it.
anything.
More than anything.
The
state championship ring in high school.
The 3 years after I graduated, Goodpasture went to the state 3 years in a row and lost to Alcoa 3 years in a row.
Alcoa.
Alcoa was a machine though.
Yeah.
They were cranking them out.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
That was 2A ball though.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Goodpasture's
Not
1A.
knocking it, but
yeah,
it was.
no, I mean,
it was.
No, it was.
Glencoe
I'll even say that,
was
but like
5A.
we were 1A school playing up at 2A because
Right.
the competition committee.
Yeah.
They all play.
Yeah.
They're
So
still.
we were 1A school playing
still do
y'all.
that,
They're
though.
still doing that now. They just did that to CPA.
CPA, they
Yeah.
made
Yeah,
them
CPA,
move up to
CPA
our
moved up with
division.
us now.
Yep.
Really?
So they're still
yeah.
forcing people to bump up like that. Once you run the table, certain there's like, all right, well, that's next step up. So it's
I
still.
think we just went ahead and jumped the gun and did it on our own before they made us go up.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
at
yeah.
that time, yeah.
So you started in Antioch.
Yeah.
So you went to Cameron, right?
Yeah, Cameron Middle
Okay.
School.
Yeah,
Shout out to
yeah,
Cameron.
yeah.
Out south.
Southside.
Yeah, it was
JC, all my boys from JC Napier, all my dogs. I knew all
Yeah.
those guys in middle school, man.
actually, talked to Miss Poley's son, Brad.
Yeah.
So were you when you were at Cameron, were you in the same grade or you're younger than Jelly Roll?
We're same year. We're same grade.
Okay.
Yeah. Me, Jelly Roll, Jelly Roll, Kenny Wayne, Big Otto, Dre. Yeah, we had Vontae one year. But yeah, we were all the same. I
Vontae
remember-
Henderson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got there when we were in 8th grade. But yeah, I remember Jelly, so I could never rap, so I always did the beats with the pens and the pencils. And we would always freestyle, whether it's in the hallway or the lunchroom. And I think we were in 6th grade, and Jelly came in and started rapping, and he ended with he said something and called me Jelly Roll and walked off, and we fucking lost it. And from then on, he was Jelly Roll. He started doing the little rap battles at the Outer Limits and stuff. And so
Mouth of the
I
South.
remember him kind of coining. He's always been in the music. Like he was in a band, he was singing. The music has always been his thing from day one. And then he came up with his name Jelly Roll. Man, he's been Jelly Roll ever
How
since.
did it
Man,
feel to see that, knowing like, hey, man, I was in 6th grade, I was doing the beats for
That
Jelly.
white
You
dude
know what I
called
mean?
himself
Like,
Jelly Roll, and now seeing what he is now.
I love it, man. I love it for
Yeah.
him, man. Like I can't. That's one person that can't say, bro. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah.
Everything he's been through to see him get his success, man. Like as somebody that's known him as long as I have and remembers the days when he changed himself Jelly Roll, bro. It's just like being got to the point where know a lot of people, but knowing him or where his background, everything he's been through, man, I'm just so happy for him, man, to see to get where he's got. Like it's just I love to see it, man. I hope he keeps going. Taking it to the top, keep doing him, man. It's just much love. Shout out to Jelly Roll, man. Keep doing your thing, bro. Much love from your Cameron Panther classmate, man. I love it, man. I couldn't be prouder of knowing somebody else being able to get to that point and doing that, man. I love seeing it from him, and I hope he keeps it going as long as he can.
Yeah. Well, I think that puts us at a good stopping point. We've covered everything up until all the way through high school.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, and then we're going to continue back here with King Dunlap. And you are back right here with the Music City Mindset, and we are here with King Dunlap. So, in the first segment, we got all the way up until you graduating high school, and all of the excellence that was there at Brentwood Academy. Y'all kicked our ass real bad.
Football and basketball.
Yeah.
I played, yeah.
I mean, I can't take that L in basketball. I didn't
you
hoop,
weren't there.
but
That's right.
but
That's right.
that L in football was big enough. So now we go into college. We started this whole thing starting off with legacy. What was the conversation like about you choosing Auburn? Obviously, you would have had a home, open doors, open arms here at Tennessee State.
I did.
We could have played together.
Yeah.
But obviously your dad being who he is and an absolute Hall of Famer at Tennessee State, What was that like behind closed doors with your parents? The expectations there of choosing Auburn.
Yeah, well, they never put pressure on me about actually going to TSU. And I think at the time they both were kind of upset about what had happened, how they treated Coach Gillum, the back end of his career when he was there. So they weren't really they weren't happy with TSU at the time for what was going on as far as behind the scenes wise. But it was never pressure about you got to go here, you got to go there. They kind of let me go through that whole process. They did. Obviously, when I was getting recruited, all the calls, I would let my parents handle all the calls. But when it got to that time for me, they kind of left it up to me. At the end of the day, we took visits my junior year and my senior year of high school, going to different schools and different colleges, and there was never pressure like, well, you got to go to TSU. It was more of, let's take our visits, see where you feel most comfortable, talk to the coach, meet the guys on the team. And for me, at the end of the day, it was my decision, and I ended up choosing Auburn. But it was never like the pressure of having to go to a certain place. It was never that. It was let's find the best fit, the best place, education, school-wise, the best people, the best situation. And so they kind of, at the end of the day, they left it up to me to my choice to make. And I ended up choosing Auburn. Like I said, they went down there with me, met the staff, the coaches, the support staff that was there, the academic advisors, the training staff, and then me going on my visits, meeting the guys on the team. It felt like home at the time, and that's why I made a decision, and I think I made the right choice.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say so. Where else did you visit to? Like, what was it actually between
it was like a top
people putting the hat on, taking the hat off?
I hate that.
Yeah, I do too.
Like my decision, I made my decision. I made it. There was no back and forth, taking the hat off, trying to trick people. So it was between. So it was Auburn, Georgia Tech, South Carolina, Clemson, and surprisingly Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was on the list too. But I wanted to go to school for football, not for school, so that's why Vandy it was nice to say I had an offer from Vandy, and I did consider Vanderbilt, but and again at the time they weren't the best. Football wasn't a priority at Vanderbilt, kind of almost where it is now. So
you're almost an ACC guy.
Almost, and that was another thing too. It was almost ACC, but I was too SEC to not go. SEC, so that's why Auburn was, like I said, at the time it was the right fit. I visited Bama. Bama was cool, but just when I went to Auburn, I think that's one thing that they did different on the official visits. Like the players, the official visits were led by the players when I was there. Like the coaches were around, but the guys on the team, they kind of led everything, and I think that's what led to the success that we had when I was there. It's like it was a very player-led team.
It was like made it tight-knit, so that way, I guess.
Yeah, player-led, player police, like the players, we held each other accountable for a lot, and I think I noticed that early on.
Maturity on the team to do that.
Yes.
I feel like it's almost, I mean, I won't say hard to do that these days, but
it's
I
damn near
feel
impossible.
I feel like,
almost
man,
impossible.
You try to do that, and it seems like it's foreign language to some of these kids, or just how the organizations, just how they think, but some of the best things I ever played on were player-led.
They are.
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah,
it ain't even close.
When it's self-police and player-led, just like we try and teach them now.
Right.
It's that's when you get. Yeah, but when you have that, that's usually, especially at the college level, that's usually some of the most successful teams. It's player-led, player police, like the players do it, and it's just you develop the accountability is stronger, the relationships are stronger, the leadership is stronger when it's within the locker room versus being outside the locker room with coaches and stuff. So that had a lot to do with why I chose Auburn, and it just kind of
really cool.
Being able to get down there and get in that and learn from that, man. It was a big deal. Being able to see and understand that at coming out of high school, a lot of high school guys don't even understand that. But having my dad doing it, my parents both being college athletes, like having that understanding and that the leadership from their point on what to look at and look for and stuff like that, that kind of helped me in my decision-making process as far as that goes from their side of it. So it was never like you got to go here. They just kind of gave me key things to look out for and kind of help with where I would want to go to spend the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Now, like we said, obviously, knowing what we know, looking back, great decision.
Yeah.
Was there a part of that was like freedom a little bit?
No.
In the regard of like the legacy, as far as like now you're doing something that like for your own, building your own, something for yourself?
I mean, if anything, it was even more pressure because I didn't go to TSU. Now I am at, SEC school, so now it's like
so now you got to perform.
Now I got to.
Yeah.
Got to.
Like
going at home.
Like going to TSU would have been too easy.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, it does.
No, it does.
I get it.
It does.
Yeah.
Like I would have been home. I would have been lax. There would have been no.
Yes.
I got to stay focused. Right. I wouldn't be able to get
you wouldn't
pushed.
gotta push.
I'm at home.
Yeah.
I know I'm all my boys. Like I'm here. Like I know where. Growing up, I grew up on Jefferson Street. We were there all the time. Like I said, I remember watching, especially him being on the sideline, watching them play, running down the sideline with all these guys for years, man. So with my dad being there, so it's like it would have been too. I would have been too comfortable going down to Auburn, kind of getting away in a sense of freedom of I'm on my own, but now I'm here. Now it's got to be. Now you see, I'm the best of the
decision.
best.
You had to make this decision the right one.
Yeah.
Had to make it work.
I had to make it work.
Yeah.
And it's so it's like that's the pressure. It was actually a little bit more pressure to not fail, but not be great. Like not go on there and continue to do what I've been doing. At somewhere I've never been, higher level, never been there before. So just the pressure of there's a little bit more pressure of still trying to do the same thing, just at a higher level. And I mean, it worked out. Like it was hard. Obviously, it was hard. I redshirted, but that constant all right, I can do. I had to do this. It wasn't I had to do this. It was I can do this. So it wasn't like I had to be this. It was like
It's a great mindset.
I can, and then it got to I get to do this. So, but I just knew like for me, with that legacy of all right, I didn't go to TSU, so now I got to prove that I can do this at this level and make it work. So it was all I used it all as motivation.
Yeah.
So whenever it got to the time, where I wanted to quit or it was hard, that was just the back of my mind. That's what kind of kept me going. It wasn't pretty always, but being able to persevere and keep going through, that pressure turned into motivation, and I just turned it into a positive thing and used it.
Well, it almost seems like how many times you quit in your head growing up. Probably people in college, the first time they ever wanted to quit was then, and you had already battled through
No,
that.
we talk about that. He said it was a time where it's like, I don't know. This might.
Well, redshirt workouts. Yeah, I called home. So the year I redshirted, I redshirted late. You could wait till I think it last like first 5 or 6 weeks. So I played in like 1 or 2 games my freshman year. So I hadn't gone to redshirt workouts. So I was like, they told me I was going to redshirt and I didn't go. So in my mind, like, I must be doing something right. So I'm not even thinking redshirt is even a thing. So we get to that week 6. They pull me in, all right, well, you're done. You're going to start going to redshirt workouts. And now, mind you, they've been going 5 or 6 weeks already, so they weren't going to cut back reps just because I showed up.
My first year.
Yeah, and so I got thrown in right in the middle of those redshirt workouts, bro. And it was already, after like that second or third week. So at home games, we had Friday morning workouts at 5:30, and then Saturday too. It wasn't just one; it was 2 for home games.
Saturday, wow, man.
So we had the Friday morning one, and I woke up Saturday before. It's probably like 3:30 in the morning. I called. I knew I had to call my mom. I couldn't call my dad because I wasn't gonna get no answer. So I called my mom. I'm like, man, I don't want to. I'm crying. I don't want to do this. No, I'm done. I'm coming back home. I knew I had my scholarship. I knew I was gonna be. I know I could come home and go to TSU no matter what.
Yeah, you got that in the bank.
So I was like, man, Mama, this ain't for me. I'm coming. I don't want to do, man. My daddy got up. I heard my dad wake up. Who was that? Oh, it's King. He said he wants to come home and go to TSU. He took the phone up and said, boy, bye, and hung the phone up. And probably knowing him, he probably went back to sleep.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I guess there goes going home. So
Stop.
Yep, got up, took my ass over to redshirt workouts and they kept it moving. But knowing now, looking back at it, I understood why he did it, what he did. Yeah, I hit that wall, man. Yeah, everybody, at college, like you hit that point where it's like, I don't know if this is for me. I'm out, but obviously I stuck it out and made the right decision. But I know I hit that point where I was like, yeah, no, this ain't it.
But a lot of great players do that, though.
Yeah.
If you go back and talk to them, it's like, man, this is completely different than what I thought. They're doing way more than what I ever done. But yeah, that's cool, man. I'm glad you stuck with it, dog.
Yeah. And you did prove it.
Yeah.
Doing some research for this, you had a 99 grade against Tulane.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy because I actually almost gave up a sack that game. So I got 99 grade. But my boys, I got clowned because I was being young. But, yeah, I had a couple high 90s. Yeah. And our line coach was it's tough to get
a high. That's wild to think about.
Yeah, it's tough to get that kind of a high grade.
That's
it was
perfect game.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was tough, man. He was hard on all of us in that room. But I think that's what – like we had, I want to say 6 offensive linemen playing in the league when I was there. The times I was the guys I was there with. We had, I think, 6 or 7 guys end up making it to the league off those teams I had. So he coached us hard, coached us tough, but you know, it was worth it, you know, being pushed like that. I was one of those kids, I needed it. Like, I needed to be pushed to be great. I wanted to be coached. I wanted to be good.
It seems like you did find that extra boost in getting uncomfortable.
Yes.
So making decisions, I don't know if you still use that now in your life, but navigating almost towards something that's hard, something that's not the easy answer.
Right.
Seems like it pays off in your life.
Or something necessarily I wanted to do. Like, even coaching, like, I've been training for years, and I tell them all the time, bro, I'm never gonna coach, bro. Y'all got it. I ain't never gonna get on staff and coach.
Said the same thing.
And you're right. That's what I said.
Now y'all on staff together.
I'm hooked. Like, now I don't see myself not coaching. So, like I said, because
he's a great coach too, though. Like, can't be laid back, but I'm gonna tell you, you get in the game or get him in practice.
Oh yeah, the first
snapping.
The first game of the season last year we played, he had to hold me back from.
Imagine
It's a picture online. I gotta find it, send it to you. It's a picture online of me because we got the brother refs. I didn't realize they still cheated.
Yeah, they hate.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they do.
So it was a bad call, and so I'm going off.
Was it the IMG game?
No, that was the first Academy game.
First Academy.
The onside kick that they said we didn't recover.
That's right.
And Tripp was standing behind. He was standing behind the referee with the ball.
Yeah.
And they said that we didn't recover the ball.
Yeah.
And
he
so
goes to the field.
Every other I snap. Every other coach you can see is kind of standing back. Deon's the only one that's trying to get in my way and slow me down to keep me from attacking the referee.
The picture is him dragging me. Yeah. He got the headset off.
Did you even know he was there?
No, he did.
I did. Because when I saw it, I was like, "Damn, Deon, my bad." I was like, "My bad, bro," because like he's trying to stop me, and I'm stepped like. You know, but when I'm that big, bro, and I see red like that.
So I'm like this. So it didn't work.
And every other coach is standing back looking, and Deon's the only one that's trying to actually pull me back. But Deon, he's known me like damn near all my life. He's known me for a while, so he knows how I can get. Yeah, he knows how I can get. But it was fun. I'm done coaching. And also I was sending it to him. I got it on my phone, and then I bit. So after that, I walked away and I bit my headset and I broke it. So I had to get a new headset too.
It's game one.
Yeah, first game of the season. First game ever coaching football ever.
You bit your headset.
I bit my headset. I almost attacked the referee and bit my headset. So
welcome to coaching.
Man.
But it's been great.
He's good though.
Welcome to coaching.
A lot of guys.
Well, in that, obviously you spent 8 years in the league. 9 years in the league. Did you, as an offensive lineman, do you have like a welcome to the league moment?
Oh, absolutely. Richard Seymour. Old Oakland Richard Seymour. That's back when Oakland's D-line, they were all 6'6", like 330 and up.
Yeah,
him, Tommy Kelly, O'Shaughnessy, on them. Yeah, so I was out. This was my second year in the league, which I was in Philly. We're out in Oakland. Jason Peters, left tackle. Jason he rarely got hurt, but he ends up getting rolled up and coming out. And I wasn't necessarily the next man up yet. I was a backup, but I was still learning to become a pro, so I wasn't really focused during the week, paying attention to game plan, really watching film. So I was bullshitting, but I was young. It hadn't clicked yet. Yeah. And I got tossed out there in the fire, bro. And Richard Seymour, he literally bull rushed me and put me on my ass and flipped me over and got a sack. He literally took both hands and had hands straight to my chest and took me and sat me down and sacked Donovan. And I was like, damn, that's never happened ever.
Like ever.
Ever in my life, ever. And that's why I was like,
okay. It wasn't your first play.
It was my first game ever playing in a regular season game. I played in preseason games.
Got it.
I went on IR in 2008 for my ankle, and in it was 2009. So I'd gone in on field goal pro, but that wasn't. It was
not the same.
Yeah. Like actual game, in-game,
that was your first
experience. That wasn't my first play. It was like the second drop, but that was my welcome to the league moment. I was like, oh yeah, this is real. Yeah, it's real. It's real. It's real out here. Yeah. And Richard Seymour, actually knowing his background of being in New England stuff, but he was an older veteran guy in Oakland, but he was still strong, big and strong as hell. And then so that from that moment on, I was like, all right, I can't be out here BSing during the week, during meetings. I gotta take my workout seriously. And so after that year, that off season, I put on 25, 30 pounds. a muscle that offseason. I literally that season ended. We had our exit meetings. I was back here with my trainer. Shout out to Pete. Twice a day, every day, 6 days a week in the weight room and training. That whole offseason, I put on 25, almost 30 pounds of muscle to be able to be ready. And I went back that next 2010 season, and that's when that moment, that welcome to the NFL moment, I was like, all right, well, I'm here. Obviously what I did what I had to do to get here, but to stay here,
yeah, it's different.
Got to lock in even more. And that's one thing too that a lot of guys get there. Getting to the league is hard in itself. Staying in the league is one thing I think people don't talk about enough, of being able to stay there, because they're always looking to go younger and better.
Yes.
But being able to transform yourself and your mind every offseason to get better, to stay in the league, I think to me that's the hardest thing to do, is to stay there and be consistent with that, because it's a grind every day. Even in the offseason, if you're not getting up, putting in the work, you're not going to make it. And that's one thing that I learned, like I said, it's a lot of guys that get there, but it's not a lot of guys that stay there and have longevity. I was a 7th-round pick that played 9 years. So going into my rookie year, I had 2 older veterans, Trey Thomas and John Runyon, that were both in year 12 my rookie year. I literally watched everything they did every day, and I took notes. And I didn't really take it to heart till I had my welcome to the league moment. But that's when it took me getting put on my ass and run over to realize, all right, I got to do something different. I got to level up again. And then from then on, I think that's what kind of helped me get to where I could stay in the league for a while.
So you mentioned, that you being your first game playing out on the field with the line, working as a unit. But you went out on some field goals and stuff like that. Yeah. You actually have a stat of a blocked field goal in the NFL.
I have 3 blocked field goals, but they only count one of them. But, yeah, I've got 3. I touched 3. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, so, field goal rush. So this is back when you could.
But you got drafted as an O-lineman.
Yeah,
so
but they put me up because I was tall and I could get up, especially if it was longer field goals. Yeah. So with longer field goals, it's a lower trajectory. So all the field goals I blocked, I never had to jump. I literally got – just got it deep and reach. So this is back when you could still do the double push. Yeah. They took that away. So on field goal rush, you could take D lineman and have a linebacker or somebody behind them and push them through the line. That's how I actually got my block. So I lined down. It was me.
Defensive tush push.
Yeah, it was. That's exactly what it was. So they took our 2 biggest D tackles. I lined up between the 2 of them, and we got pushed through. And I got through they had a weak. We watched film, so they had a weak. Their tackle, their B gap was really, really weak. So we kind of overloaded one gap over. And they pushed me and the other homie next to me, and I got through, and I got my inside leg through and got my hand up and blocked it. But I probably tipped 5 overall. But I know it was stat for a while too. In 2009 to 10, we had the lowest field goal percentage against in the league for I want to say 2 years.
How common is that for an offensive lineman to get put into that position?
At the time, it wasn't. And then
because I read that and I was like, wait, am I
yeah.
It was
Andy.
It
was Andy, but it was Andy though. Andy was like, "You ever blocked the field goal, King?" I was like, "No," because the kickers were kicking one day at practice, and I was kind of walking by. I knew David Akers, and he kicked one. I was walking by the goalpost, and I kind of just jumped up and tapped the keeper from going in the goalpost. And I'm sure, and I didn't see Andy saw it, but
Andy scouts, man. Andy Reid is
he's a genius, bro.
He's literal genius.
Yeah, for real. No, he actually to me he's the GOAT when it comes to coaching. I know I have a bias towards him, but. Now he's getting the Super Bowl rings, and he's the GOAT. But after that, I started going to special teams meetings. But, being on field. I did it in San Diego. I didn't block one in San Diego, but I made – the kickers have to have adjustments because it's funny, too, when they look up and see me before, I'll make sure I put my hand down late just so I'm the last thing that they see before they go through their little routine. So they got to kind of change their trajectory. And it's been a lot of times where they try to kick around me. They end up missing the field goal. But, I've got a couple block field goals.
He's down 7 feet with the pads and helmet on.
That's crazy.
I'm just under 7'1". They measured me in San Diego. So
with cleats on 7'1"?
With the bottom of my cleats and top of my helmet, I was just under 7'1".
Dude, that's insane.
With all my stuff on, so.
You're over a foot taller than me. Okay, a couple questions before we wrap this up. The time frame that you played, the areas that you played in, the list could go on. I made notes of something. Cadillac, Donovan,
the running backs.
Deshaun Jackson.
Shady.
You played with Dex too one year.
Phillip Rivers, Eric Weddle.
Even going all the way back to me, even Little League playing at Una, all my guys from Little League. I've been blessed to have been on around a lot of great talent. Going all the way back from Little League all the way through the league. But so even college is Ronnie B, Cadillac, Jason Campbell, Carlos Rogers, Carlos Dansby,
Dude,
DT.
As a Bama fan, I hated seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
backfield.
Trey Smith, and then Marcus McNeil, Troy Reddick, Ben Grubbs, Danny Lindsay, Big Marpera, all my O-line guys even Lee Zimba, he was younger than me, Mike Berry, Tyrone, Leon Hart, Joe Cope, and then also Ben Obamanu, Courtney Taylor, who played in the league for a minute, Devin Aromashidu, who played in the league for a minute, Cooper Wallace. I mean, it's been a bunch of guys in college, and then going to the league. So I was the same draft class as D-Jack. He was our first pick that year for our class. I was the last pick, and we ended up having the longest careers of all of us that got drafted that year. But then going to Philly, B-Dog was still there, Trotter, Westbrook, Donovan, Trey Thomas, Runyon, Sean Andrews. Lito Shepard was still there, Sheldon Brown.
That was a squad, though.
Yeah, bro. But Andy always had talent. Dukes was a D lineman, so Dukes.
T.O. went.
No, T.O. was gone when I was there.
That's right.
And then we end up, getting Mike when Mike got out of jail. We drafted Shady, Macklin, Selleck. We brought Jason Peters in. I backed him up for a year. He was a tight end in Arkansas.
So he was a rookie in my class.
Yeah. He was a tight end, bro. He was athletic, bro. He ran a 4.7 at 330.
Dude, he was the most athletic person I ever seen at that size.
Ever. I've seen him do stuff as offensive lineman that you're not supposed to be able to do.
And I'm like, this dude.
He's an athlete, bro.
Yeah.
You ever seen him and Sean Andrews go through the ladder, the agility ladder?
Nah, it's crazy.
Crazy thing I've ever seen in my life, bro.
Man,
see two dudes that heavy, that big, with feet like defensive backs. It's unbelievable. And then, so there, and then going to San Diego with Phillip and Ryan Matthews, Antonio Gates, Malcolm Floyd. We drafted Keenan, Manti, then Melvin Gordon got there. And then my dog, that's my dog. I love Eric Weddle, bro. Great dude. Shout out to E-Dub. Weddle was
household
there.
names.
Yeah,
he named like 30 people.
Yeah, household names.
Well, you played. You played 4 years of college ball, and you played 9 years in the league. It's a lot. Like I know I've left out. Like listen,
my
teammates. I left a bunch of guys out. I apologize, guys.
Yeah.
Y'all know who y'all are.
You can't name everybody.
Yeah.
My question is there somebody that maybe is not a household name that if you said it, we might not know who it is, that looking back was like great glue guy, best teammate, and just a dog on the field, but never really got to that success of a household name?
Jamal Jackson. Shout out to my dog, Jack. He was a center when I got to Philly. All the great offensive linemen that had got all the credit. Jamal was a center. He was the glue to the whole thing. He made it work. From making the calls, setting the protections, all the points. Shout out to my dog, Jack. And Jamal Jackson is – most offensive linemen aren't household names, but Jamal Jackson for sure is hands down the most known unknown player teammate that I've had. That was like watching him help me kind of help figure it out too, and he helped bring me along in my playbook. But yeah, Jamal Jackson is a name that not a lot of people, I'm sure y'all probably never heard of him, but he was a center for the Eagles for a long time. All that run they went on going to the Super Bowls and NFC championships, Jack was there for a lot of it.
Is that who Kelsey replaced?
Yeah. That's who Jason. Because Jamal he ended up tearing he tore his knee up, and then he came back and tore his tricep the next year, and then his body just, he got to the point where his body just kept shutting down on him. But that's who, when they drafted Kelsey, it was after Jamal left. And then, like I said, I even forgot him. I forgot I played with him for 2 years. Like, see, it's too many.
Yeah.
I remember Jason his rookie year. He comes in. It was like, bro, there's no way he's going to be any good. He's too small. You see him work in the weight room, and he's just, obviously, you saw the career he had.
Yeah.
He's one of the most athletic, another one of those athletic offensive linemen it was unassuming. When you look at him, it's like, all right, what's he going to do? But then you turn on the film, put him on the field, and he's an absolute dog.
Yeah.
But he said, I forgot him. And then I've got Todd Hermans and Big Max. Yeah, see, now all the names are coming back.
Yeah.
So, guys, don't be mad at me, fellas. I love y'all. It's just a lot of it's a lot
of y'all.
We've had some players on.
Yeah.
We've talked about it at length between us. What was it that first time stepping away? You talked about your first time at Auburn and really having an off season, missing baseball, but you had basketball and football, and now you didn't have basketball, had a real off season.
Yeah.
What was it like retiring? How hard was that decision?
Oh, man.
And what was that first year like? The common theme is nobody really can watch football when they first retire. Was that your story, or did you have a good relationship with it?
I mean, I could watch it because I was always a football fan at the end of the day. Like, I played, but I still just loved enjoying. I was a fan first before I ever played, just from being younger. So The retirement thing, man, is I was actually on a visit. I was in Detroit with the Lions. Their left tackle I got hurt was going to be out for a couple of weeks, so I was up there on a visit. Met all the GM and everybody, and I go down to the doctor, to see doctors for my physical. And I had never seen my physical file because it was all digital. And so I sit down, and the doc brings out my file, and he drops it on the table. And I had never physically seen it and how thick it was.
Encyclopedia.
Dude, and I was like, oh my God, because like I said, everything was all, we don't, as a player,
You don't
rarely,
see that.
yeah, that was my first time actually having been released from a team because I just played through my contract in Philly, my 4-year deal, then I signed a 1-year deal, and then I got a 2-year deal in San Diego, then I got my big deal, so I got released after that year, so that was my first time actually doing the whole free agent visit thing like that. So I didn't know that they actually show you a whole physical file. I thought it was just digital. And so he dropped it down and started flipping through it, started asking about all this. And I'm just looking I'm not even, at this point, he's just going, wah, 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 wah. And I'm just looking at him flip pages. And the more he starts flipping, I was like, you know what, Doc? Don't even worry about it. I'm good. Like my body right there in that moment, your body, when they say your body lets you know, your body lets you know. And that's when I was like, I appreciate that, but I'm good. I knew I wasn't. Because I at that point, I was training and working out, but my body wasn't responding the same. And I knew I wouldn't have made it through camp. So I was like, yeah, this is not, I'm cool. It wasn't even going to be worth it at that point. So that was a tough decision. And then that year I watched, but it was hard to watch. Because seeing a bunch of obviously the guys I was teammates with play and just watching the game, it was a tough season to watch. And that really for me, the first 2 years of retiring the second year was tougher than the first year.
Really?
Because the first year I was still recovering off some injury. I said I'm coming off an injury. I got hurt late my last year, so I was still kind of recovering from that.
Easier to process when you're hurting.
Yeah, but the second year, when I physically felt better, I was like, damn.
Felt like you said could do it if you maybe take a
Second year I was watching, I was like, man, that's when it hit this. The second year of retirement is really when it hit me. And some tears were involved. I cried, it wasn't like boo-hoo, but just watching the game, like, because now I miss it.
Yeah.
Now I missed it, like being in the locker room, the practices, the camaraderie. It wasn't so much the paycheck, but you don't get that. You don't get that anywhere else.
No.
Like that, in between meeting time, the downtime, the plane rides, the bus rides, the kicking in the locker room, the players' lounge, the lunchroom, just being around the guys, that camaraderie. That's the hardest part of retiring is you don't get that because you've had it for so long.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything else, and so not having that's what hit me the most. And then, all that leading up to game day, it was tough. That was 2018 season. It was tough. The first 2 years were tough. And then once I got in the third year, I was like, all right, I got to do something. And then that's when I started doing the O-line training stuff. But yeah, retirement, it was tough, man. It was a tough decision because physically you feel like you can still play. And then, like I said, that's the mental side of it. You go from have everything being so structured, and you got a schedule and your regiment, and it's just what you've done it for more than a decade.
Yeah.
And
a long
going
time,
from that to doing nothing, it sounds great. Like I said, the first year I wasn't too upset about it. Like it wasn't too bad because being able to rest and not have to get up and go to meetings and stuff. But that second year, that's when it hit me. It's like, damn, I miss it, and that's when it got tough. But getting through that and then starting the training, like getting into O-line training helped with not being able to play anymore. And now that I'm coaching, that's helped even more. So
I was gonna ask him about touching it like real quick, like this about the transition from the playing to the training, cause obviously I'm doing it, Blake, you do it, you know what I mean? So was that like a second home for you at that point, like, or like a safe haven, like, hey, you know what, I don't have this, but I can do this now?
Absolutely, that's what I was gonna say. It essentially saved me from going down that, getting deeper into that hole of not knowing what to do, what life is going to be about, what is my purpose now. Training kind of helped revitalize and bring me back to life, to getting back to that, you said, that camaraderie of missing being around the guys. You know how it is offensive line, bro. So I didn't play as a fraternity because being an offensive lineman is a fraternity in itself. Like, it's just certain rooms, and Deon tell you this too, like it's certain positions on other teams that everybody might not be cool with every DB or every wide receiver. I know some wide receivers that used to have beef in meeting rooms. So I've seen that happen. But in the offensive line room, you're not going to be any success. You're not going to be successful at all if everybody can't be cohesive.
all work
that
together.
on and
DB
off the
personality,
field.
man.
Yeah.
That's
And so,
I'm surprised I like you.
I know.
but like you said, that's those positions are more of like a me positions. With us, it's group or nothing.
Yeah.
That's
Five
true.
of us got to work as one. So that kind of camaraderie,
Yeah.
that brotherhood, like I said, y'all know how it is. Offensive line, bro. It's just our room is just different.
It is different.
It's just different.
It's
Like being the biggest guys on the field, tight knit group. That's what I was missing. So being able to train and get back with, like I said, get into training with these younger guys, that kind of revitalized me and kind of helped me out. And that's what that part of me that I was missing with that, I'm getting that back with training and especially now coaching. But that getting into training definitely helped kind of get me through that process of not having that side of it anymore. And also being able to help give back because I didn't have anybody like what I'm teaching and coaching these guys now. I didn't learn until I got to the league.
Same.
So like I said, I had to get out of the mud from little league. I didn't have bad coaches, but
Right.
there were no O-line coaches in little league or even high school. I had an O-line coach, but like he wasn't really teaching technique. Like it was move your feet, play basketball in front of your guy, move your feet. Like, it wasn't really technically how to use my hands. I didn't really learn how to take a true pass set till I got to college. Then that was barely minimum. And then when I got to the league, shout out to Juan Castillo, when I got to Philly, that's when I got taught how to be an offensive lineman. And so that's what, like I said, I'm trying to teach all these guys now. And I'm telling them, I didn't have the stuff I'm teaching now. I did not learn until I was a grown man.
Yeah, but in this one, I can see, like, I mean, he'll tell you, like, he has some great guys come through there still. Like, he's training some legit collegiate guys, but just to see, like, what you pouring into them and how they respond to you, man, it's good to see, man.
My track record holds for itself. I don't think I hold myself in the high of light as everybody else does because I don't see myself doing it. But they do respond to they listen to what I say. They take it in. The coach and I'm hard on them. I'm hard on them. Even the guys I coach, but even the guys I train, I'm hard on them. But a lot of them, when they especially the guys that are in college, because I've got a bunch of guys in college now. They all come back. Thank you, coach. I really appreciate what you did. Has got me a long way. And now I'm starting. Now I get these offensive line coaches reaching out. About the guys. But it's for me, it's fun. I love it. Being able to give back, being able to give them something I never got. It's been really very, very fulfilling for me and very rewarding. So I love it. I plan on doing it for as long as Lord willing.
Don't stop, man. It seems like you're thriving, dude. As someone who grew up playing against you, knowing who you were, and then me choosing to go to TSU and hearing the legacy of your family name, it seems like there's been back to the camaraderie. Yeah. Not that anything will ever actually like replicate what you had in some of those O-line rooms, but it seems like now that you've put a team around you, whether it be the coaches, the actual teams, your athletes, I'd be a bad host if we didn't bring up like the team around you at the Raw Room, which all are doing. It seems like when you put yourself amongst a team, you're thriving. It's really cool to see everything you're doing now, man.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing I know.
Yeah.
That's all I know from all day from day one.
Fun at the Raw Room.
Yeah.
My
Give us
guys,
a quick
shout out to my
little
guys.
One of your guys come over to Lipscomb and train sometime.
Bates be over there. Yeah, they all want to pull up. I tell them, bro, just let me know.
Man. Shout out to Raw Room, man.
And pull up. Man. Yeah, shout out to my guys, man. So it'll be 2 years next month that I've been on with them. And that's been great. Like I said, went on as a guest, but Bates is an old Auburn guy. Known Bates played against him for a couple of years, man. But getting in with them, it's for me. That's been another thing that's helped too. It's been fun, like you said, being able to be back in that. For me, it's like being back in the locker room, like I said, especially with Bates and JC being former players, and then them being the defensive back and the linebacker. They hate offensive. On the field they hate us, so it's a good back and forth. And they got a good thing going, man. Like I said, well, I say they, I mean we. But I remember going on with them and just kind of seeing how the dynamic of when I went on as a guest, and I was like, man, I could feel, I could see myself kind of fitting in and making it work. So, man, shout out to them, them and Faye, Matt and May, everybody over there at the Raw Room, man. We, it's been fun, man. It's been really. That's why I say I want to come up here with you guys and doing the same thing, man. Keep it. Y'all got to get things going too, man. We'll have to pull
up on y'all, man.
Man, listen. Y'all got to, both of y'all are welcome. I'm gonna holler at them later, talk to them about getting y'all on, man. We'd love to have y'all pull up. So they said the more the merrier, especially with being local. Like y'all, man, trying to put more local, being from here, being a Nashville guy, a local guy. The more people from here we can put on, the better, like I said, because it's talented people all over from the area, man. It's not just sports wide, but just in life, man. So I'm Nashville forever. But I got it tatted on my forearm for a reason.
Yep.
It's home for me. I don't plan on going nowhere. So whatever I can do to help the city, the state, help put people on, I'm all in.
Collaboration over competition,
that's
man.
what it's about,
Absolutely.
man. Nashville legend in
Yep.
the building.
Local legend, man. Thanks for pulling through.
Appreciate y'all.
Enjoyed
having me,
this.
man.
Learned a lot about you. You know, I see you around sometimes, so it's good to actually like dig a little deeper and find someone who like-minded, loves this city the way I love this city.
Absolutely.
This all got started because people kind of fall in and out of love because the city's changing so much. So this is being that reminder of why we love this city that we're from, man.
Yeah, man,
Thanks for coming through.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So hey, I know you enjoyed it, man. I know I did. Make sure you hit the link, subscribe, like, tell a friend. Until next time, man.
Yeah. And for the love of Nashville, tune into the next one.